I have a name that's popping up in my head, and I'm drawing a blank on the last name. But nice. So I'm going to go to the left of you here.
Okay.
He's probably not going to like that.
You're okay. You're fine.
No, he was fine with that. And then sit in front of you.
Sit.
Yeah.
Hey.
So what you'll do here is you're going to move him around the front of you so that he's to your right. And then you'll pull up.
Yep.
Yeah, there you go.
Do you want him to sit on this side of me?
Yeah.
Okay. Come here.
There we go. And then up and then
Mookie.
press
Sit.
down on the hindquarters. There you go. Cool. So reactivity.
Yes.
I think I read that he's done 2 board and trains previously.
Yeah. So we did a puppy class together when he was younger. And he was trained on a prong at that. And I don't know, when I moved here, he was still on a prong because I feel like that's just how I could easily like walk him. And he started having reactivity this past summer. Like, that's when I first noticed like this kind of stuff. Like, whereas before when he was younger, we didn't have issues like that.
Okay.
And then he started having like, so then he did after the first board and train, I felt like he just was kind of, I don't know, a little bit different. And then he is like, I didn't tell you this, but he's like deathly afraid of flies. Weirdest thing ever.
Okay.
So when I did the board and train, they were trying to kind of work with him to just confidence build for some things, because like the smoke alarm, flies, like he will hide for like an extended period of time. And it took me a while to figure out what actually was going on. So it took, a little bit of time. But after the first board and train, that's when during that, they kind of were trying to work with him on that. And I don't know if truthfully, like, because they kind of fell off the wayside after. Like, I had followed up, there was like a class after the board and train that you had to do, so I did that. But then after that, the one girl actually tore her ACL. She was like out of commission, like wasn't answering, like there was just really bad follow-up. And then one of my, girl I worked with, her dog had like a ton of issues, and so they had gone to someone else. And so I kind of connected with this girl, Brittany, who was in it's not southern Indiana, but like middle of Indianapolis. And she suggested to do another board and train. And she was like, he's not aggressive, all this stuff, and did another board and train with him. Because then I was thinking, well, maybe it's like male centered, because I found that like some instances were with men, like if he just kind of wasn't having a good time, like was kind of a little bit more stressed or anxious. And then she was like, no, I don't think it's a male thing. Like she had him for 2 weeks or however long it was, I can't remember, maybe, I don't remember. But like had her dad, her brother, like all these men there. And so but then once I moved this past summer, right before summer, he gets walked when I work. So like in Indy even, I had walkers, and sometimes it'd be the same person, sometimes it'd be a different person. And there were 2 instances where he wouldn't let the person walk him, and both of those people were male. So that's why I was like, I don't know if it's a male thing. And then when we moved this past summer, he had an instance at my parents' lake where he was outside, and a male neighbor kind of like ran up to our pier and was trying to get something that was in the water, and was kind of like yelling, like he was like, hey, go get that, like trying to talk to us, but like yelling. And he kind of like came up to him and was just like harassing him, like would not let him go. And I don't think, like he didn't bite him, but he was like, barking, but I would say almost like, when you're like nipping, like trying to like he was grabbing his clothes, like pulling on his shirt. And so that's when I was like, what is going on? Like, what is this behavior? And then when we moved, I mean, I've seen it a few times. We've gotten better in my apartment, because that was what I was first worried about when I moved, was him kind of like up and down the elevator. He's generally pretty good. There's a dog next to us that every time we walk past, it is like, like it's going at it. So like he kind of like has like an issue with that. We've gotten a little bit better about that. Like even on my way here today, the dog kind of was doing that underneath the door, and he kind of like was letting it go. I was trying to get his, you know, attention, and he, like, we were there for an extended amount of time, and towards the end of it, he did kind of like try to go over there, but like was doing much better than he had before, where he would just, anytime we'd walk past there, he'd already kind of be like bracing for whatever was going to happen. And then we went to Canine. So he had been going to daycare there. He did get a puncture wound there on his side. So they don't know. I didn't truthfully find out. I didn't know because his fur is all black until like about 24 hours, like that night, where I happened to touch it and they didn't see anything. So they had said that like a dog had kind of reacted towards him and like kind of maybe not fully bit, but the vet was like, it looks like it's like in passing, like a canine maybe like cut his side as he was like running past. It doesn't look like a full like bite. But so then, I mean, he's still been going there a little bit, like, but I don't know.
How's he do with the handoffs?
There? Yeah, fine.
Males is too, doesn't
Fine.
matter. Okay.
Fine. And like, that's the thing is, even when I first moved and he would go to like, which I hate dog parks, but I just wanted, there was one that was like empty that I wanted him to go to the bathroom in. And then like there were humans that came in there, male, female, other dogs, totally fine. So like, I don't know if it has something to do with the leash either. So when I first went to Canine, they had recommended to change him from the prong to the martingale. Because they weren't sure if the prong was giving him that kind of like, I don't know, just kind of hyping him up more. But yeah, so then, I don't know, I feel like I've gone to so many things and I still haven't gotten, I don't know what to do. Yeah, like I feel like lost almost. Like I feel, yeah. And I want a place for him to like be able, so I feel like the trouble he gets in at daycare is because he wants to play. Like he's going around. So if it was, and I looked on your website and looked all the stuff about structuring, I feel like that would maybe be helpful for him if he's not left to just run around, you know, and you know.
Most daycares are not regulated.
Yeah.
And it's constant play. You know, they'll just, some places, like it's a room twice the size of this.
Yeah.
And there could be like 100 dogs in there.
That's, yeah.
You know, and it's unhealthy.
Yeah.
Even for like friendly dogs, it's unhealthy because it's just, it's constant overstimulation.
Yeah.
I mean, just as a human, like,
Yeah.
you know, being stuck in certain mindsets for a long period of time is exhausting.
Yeah.
You know, especially if it's done on a day-to-day. So that's why we have like routine structure and stuff. Like today's Mondays. Mondays and Fridays are typically slower, so we probably have like around 30-ish dogs.
Okay.
Behind this wall here is our play area.
Okay.
So there's dogs that are playing. You wouldn't know it, but because we keep things, if you scale it 1 to 10, we don't let dogs go above a 5.
Okay.
Okay, because anything above a 5 is where scuffles tend to happen.
Yeah.
Fights tend to happen. If you look up behind you on that TV, you can see on the top right, there's like dog beds with dogs laying down.
Yeah.
It's kind of cut off, but to the very top right, there's a treadmills there. So dogs are doing treadmill right now.
Yeah.
And then to the bottom where you see those mop buckets, we have 2 different pens.
Okay.
One is our play pen, and the other one we call our ISO pen for dogs that are antisocial, but they still get to go out and they still get to be a part of the routine.
Yeah.
They're just not actively like in the play group.
Okay.
But we'll have as many as 50 dogs here, and it's still just as quiet. It's not
Right.
that dogs never bark. They do bark. Like if you walked in and they saw you, they'd bark at you because
Right.
like, who are you?
Right.
Sometimes our neighbor is renting the back part of our building, so sometimes like they're moving stuff around and it makes a big clang. The dogs will bark, but when we tell them to quiet down, they quiet down relatively quickly. Whereas with a lot of daycares, you walk in and you can hear the barking,
Yeah.
you know, from the front and
Right.
stuff like that. And the other thing is, that barking is stressful, right? Not just for the dogs, but for the humans.
Right.
You know, the humans walking through and it's just
Constant,
constant loud
right.
barking. So then everybody is just on edge, and that's typically where things happen because everybody is stressed
Right.
to a degree, you know? And it's not that dogs never get stressed here. They do. It's just because the calmness
Yeah.
just doesn't allow them to become too overwhelmed by the
Yeah.
stress, okay? So I'm gonna have you hold your leash as you are. I'm gonna do a couple of things
Yeah.
where I'm at to see if he does anything, okay? Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come behind you. You see that sleeve that's right there?
Yeah.
I'm going to grab it, okay? So I'm going to have you just hold him.
Okay, sit. Good job.
Yep.
Let me just hold him like this?
Yep. Good. All right. So one thing I can do here to get a better read is touch him, okay? So what this allows me to do, because from my vantage point, when I passed by and he was reactive, like that was some legit reactivity. The snapping with his mouth to me looked serious, meaning it looked like there was intent there, okay? Now it can look that way, but then the moment I touch the dog, nothing happens. Or I could touch the dog and then they will bite the sleeve, and it allows me to assess the intensity, okay? Sometimes we see what we call panic biting, which is they'll bite like this, very lightly, because they're panicking, right? Or I get dogs that'll bite, and then they'll shake it. I've even had dogs rip this out of my hand.
Oh my gosh,
okay?
okay.
So I can feel the bite through the sleeve, but what it does is it gives me a better read on where he's coming from, okay? Right now, some things that I'm thinking are territorial behavior, okay? He's being territorial over you. But earlier when I was in passing, because I came through there, he saw me, I walked, and I was walking pretty much along this line, which is about a 4 to 5 foot distance there, and then we saw him being really reactive, right? But then when I came over to grab the chair, I'm assuming I'm gonna see more of that behavior. I don't see it. I come around and grab that sleeve, I don't see it, right? So I'm going, all right, what is the cause of your issue here? Because if I'm just walking by minding my business, technically speaking, when I come into that space, that should also bother him. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But I'm not seeing that, so that's what's kind of strange. One thing that I can see here, though, is he's definitely what we'd call vigilant. If you look at his head posture, right? His ears are up. He's kind of like this,
Yeah.
right? So
He's
that's
looking.
vigilance, exactly. Some anxiety, not the worst anxiety that I've seen. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'd probably put him at about a 3 to maybe 4, right? Because he's heavy panting right now. He's unable to relax.
Yeah.
He's not breathing too heavily here. So what happens is when I touch him, he's going to do a few things, okay? He might bite. He might try to escape. He might try to hide behind you. He might try to hide under the chair or something, right? He might try to avoid conflict completely, and then not until I trap him does he do something. Or the moment I come in, he can just right away attempt to bite, okay? So what this allows me to do is just get a better read on him. If I do this, we expect, obviously, him to escalate. He might also freak out and poop himself. He might yelp and scream because he's panicking, which is usually a fear response, right? I'm just trying to see if I put you under complete pressure, which is I'm going to touch you, and you have no idea who I am, right? Is what he does then allows me to figure out, like, okay, is this fearful? Is this anxiety? Is this nervousness? Is this territorial behavior? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Are you comfortable with that?
Yeah.
So I'm going to have you do a stand up. You're going to stand in the center right there. You're going to shorten your leash.
Shorten even more.
Yeah.
Here, let me
So you're
put
just
this
going to
in.
choke up. Cool. And you're going to stand as you are. And you're going to do the best to your ability. You're just going to keep him in place. Okay?
So
Yeah.
I'm
so like if he
still
tries to
gonna
go
put
behind you.
pressure.
Yeah. So if he tries to go behind you, you're trying to keep him here.
Yep.
Okay?
Okay.
So this is nervousness. A little bit of huff in there. So I'm going to back away. A little nip there. Yep. Yep. This is panic. You're doing good. Yep.
Holding him.
Keep holding. You're doing good. Okay, you can sit down. So, see what I mean?
Yeah.
Is his bark look worse than his bite? Okay.
Yeah.
So this is most likely nervousness.
Okay.
Okay. So,
Can I like,
don't pet him.
don't pet him? Okay, let him go.
Yeah. I know why you're gonna pet him. I'll talk about all that
Okay,
stuff.
yeah. I was gonna say, you're gonna analyze me too.
Yeah. So here we have fear, nervousness, anxiety, and then aggression.
Okay.
Okay. Fear typically wants to escape. They want to run away. They tend not to let things go, meaning he would be barking at me and he wouldn't stop barking at me because he's scared. And then you'd see him hide. Like he'd be to the right of you, he'd be behind you, he'd be underneath your chairs and stuff, right? He wasn't doing that. So I'm like, I wasn't really thinking fear, but I'm like, all right, so the next one is anxiety. Anxiety tends not to settle, okay? Anxiety wants to move. Heavy panting, whale eye, they'll sit, they'll stand up, they'll lay down, they'll jump on the chair, they'll sit, right? That's constant movement.
Yeah.
Nervousness will relax, but then if something suddenly changes, this is why I did the stomping thing, right? And not even that triggered him. So it's like nervousness, but it's not typical nervousness that I would see.
Okay.
Okay. So like any other nervous dog, when he was sitting beside you, the moment I do this, right? Because I'm calm, I'm neutral, and all of a sudden I do this, then they pop off because there was a sudden change in the environment. Okay. And then aggression is typically an outlet. It's a symptom. Okay. It's going to be fueled by something.
Right.
So so aggression or reactivity. Okay. So this is fine. So actually hold him. Yep. Yep. So here, he's not even caring about me right now.
I know.
He's caring about that. Okay. But this is how honed in he is on what's going on over there. Sniffing is good. Okay. Sniffing is social behavior. Good. So right there, technically speaking, that's like a change in the environment. So what could be happening is he's had enough time to read me that I'm no longer as much of a threat as I was the first time I walked through.
Right.
You know?
Okay.
Because right now, they come in, this is my wife and son. They get his attention, and typically what happens if he goes under stress, if a dog goes under stress, and then I added another stressor like coming into their personal space, they're going to direct their stress
To something else.
exactly,
Whatever
which
is
would have
the
been
new
me.
thing. Yeah.
Right. So that's happening. I'm like, let me take advantage of this. I
Right.
come in to touch him, and he's like, I don't care about you anymore. I care more about that now. So to me, this is nervousness. Okay. With some territorial behavior.
Yeah.
Nervousness can sometimes seem unpredictable if you
Yes.
don't know how to recognize it.
Okay.
Okay. Because I've done this for so long, I go, okay, I can usually see things before they're going to happen.
Yeah.
Because I already understand how the dog's brain works. Okay. So the reason for having him next to you and trapping him on the leash is when you remove any option of escape, that's when we're going to see the worst behavior.
Yeah.
Right. So we have 4 responses to stress. Do you know any of them?
I don't know. No. Nothing.
Fight,
Flight.
flight, and then we have avoidance, submission.
Okay.
But the first 2 are always fight or flight.
Right.
Can I eliminate the threat or can I escape the threat?
Right.
Right. So if he's on the leash, which one of those is gone?
He can't flight.
Exactly. So that leads to fight.
Yep.
Okay. But when I came in, like he kind of stood back, and it took a while before he even huffed, right? Before he even it took a bit. And then I walked away, and the reason why I did that was I put him under stress. He feels, maybe overwhelmed or whatever.
Right.
I go, okay, I'm not saying anything. I back away. The brain relaxes, but it's still stressed.
Yeah.
And I come in again, and it stacks even more stress to see, is he going to give me something worse? And then you saw me kind of stomping and doing these things, right? I'm trying to make it harder for him so he gives me his worst behavior. But even with that, when
He kind of was going like and just like moving his head
and
like.
he kind of jumped around.
Yeah.
That was the
But
panic.
like he even more so, I feel like, I don't want to interrupt you or anything, but I feel like he was even more so turning his head like away from it
Yes.
instead of.
Yes. Do you know what that is?
No.
Avoidance. Fight, flight, avoidance, submission.
Okay.
Okay. So at the end, when I walked away, do you remember what he was doing?
Sitting,
And
panting.
what else? What was his face doing? Was it like this or was it like this?
I think it was just straight
It
ahead.
was straight ahead.
Yeah.
Submission. Right? So
Okay.
I can't attack this, or I'm not confident to attack this, right? I can't escape this. I keep him under pressure. He tried to escape, and that's why I was like, just keep him as slow as you could.
Right.
He realized he couldn't escape. We go to avoidance. I'm going to pretend this isn't happening.
Right. That's
I
exactly.
stay there long enough, and he's like, nothing's happening. So I'm just, okay. I'm just going to accept this, or I'm going to submit to this.
Yeah.
Right? Submission, people tend to think of as bad. It's not. There will always be dominance and submission in any relationship, including human relationships.
Right.
Right? So like I own my own business.
Right.
I have 10 employees. That's a dominance relationship. I'm the dominant one. My employees technically are the submissive ones, right? They're the ones that I tell them what to do.
Right.
You know, in this context.
Right.
But outside of this context, if I saw one of my employees out in the street, I'm like, hey, you know, do this for me. They're like, I'm not
on the job.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
growing up, you know, my mom, my dad, they're the dominant ones. I'm the child. I'm the submissive one.
Right.
Right. In this relationship, technically speaking, you should be the dominant one.
Right.
He's a submissive one. Right.
Right.
In most cases, that's not what it is.
Right.
It's flipped.
Right.
And what happens is, if he's the dominant one, right, that simply means he's in charge. He's the leader. Is he can decide what he likes and what he doesn't like. Will he accept and what he won't accept, right? What sounds he likes happening outside the door versus what sounds he doesn't mind.
Right.
You see that?
Yep.
But if you're the one in charge and you're like, yeah, I don't care about people walking out my front door, and neither should you, then you're like, okay.
Flips.
Exactly.
Okay.
So, but yeah, that would be the explanation of those behaviors real time in that little, 3 minutes where I was pressing him. Okay. So, not the first time I've seen this. This is a day in my office.
Yeah.
I do this. I got into dog training for dogs like Mookie.
Yeah.
Whereas most dog trainers train dogs, they'll take dogs like Mookie because it's money.
Right.
But they're not really. It's not really their thing. You know,
Yeah.
they think they know behavior and stuff like that. So like going back to the other trainer, the second trainer. Do you know why it was a female? Why she didn't experience any issues with him and males? Do you think?
Because she's not me.
Yeah. Yeah. She's not his person.
Right.
You give him something to protect. You have a relationship. So this is why, like, if you brought him to me, and even if you're like, hey, like, I want to do a board and train, I'd most likely advise you against it.
Yeah.
But if you're like, this is my only option, then I go, fine, we'll take him. But just so you know,
It's not
it's
you.
not us. We're probably not going to see these behaviors. If I don't see them, I can't address them.
Right.
Okay? And it doesn't mean that I can't help. Like, I figure it out.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, when you have a dog like this, you are the most important part of the training.
Right.
You know, one, because he's guarding you.
Right.
And then you have to know what to do when he escalates, how to turn off the reactivity, right? How to regain control in the situation. Also, understand more about owning and living with a nervous dog.
Right.
You know, so we have all sorts of personalities here. We have human reactive, dog reactive, human aggressive, dog aggressive, fearful, nervous, anxious, territorial, right? And they all coexist peacefully here, right? Because I know what I'm doing. I educate my staff enough that they'll reinforce the structure so that we have as much harmony as possible. And it's not that things never happen. They do happen. It's just very rare that they happen, okay? Does that all make sense?
Yeah.
So, did you do any research on how we train, the tools that we use?
Well, so I like e-collar, that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
or like, I haven't, he's never been e-collar trained, but the prong, in some aspects, I don't know, what do you think about the prong? Like,
I
'cause
like the
that,
prong, but it's not going to help you here.
yeah, because that scares me for him just because, one, we just got off, like, we just stopped using it in July. I feel like he's gotten a lot better on the leash without it. And I don't know. Yeah. So I really, I'm open to whatever help, if that makes sense.
So, my theory around the prong collar
Yeah.
is, yes, it can amp some dogs up, but the biggest variable behind a dog's behavior when they've been trained is did the trainer know what they were doing with the tool?
Right.
Okay. Unfortunately, there are a lot of trainers that use prong and e-collar and they do it incorrectly. And I end up having to come, like, I get plenty of e-collar trained dogs and then I have to retrain them because either it was done poorly and the dog is not responsive or not obedient, and or the dog is worse. You know, so then it makes people skeptical because they're like, well, Jesse, I just paid $5K to this person here, right? And I go, I understand that, and I'm sorry that that happened to you, but I can tell that this was done incorrectly, and then I'll give the reasoning why.
Right.
And then once I break it down, they're like, well, this makes complete sense. I go, yes. I was like, because I know what I'm talking about.
Right.
Okay.
The other thing I will say too is with like that anxious or nervousness that you're talking about, that's at home too. And so when I was talking to the vet about it, they had recommended him going on clonidine just to kind of help that, which he has been just like it's kind of a little bit here and there just to kind of help him. But they did recommend that I follow up with a vet behaviorist for like any medication or anything like that.
Save your money.
Okay.
Save your money.
Okay. Because I was thinking, because I was so overwhelmed with everything, I was like, maybe I do just medicate him for a little bit and then get in with a train. Like, I don't know. I just didn't know where to go. And
I
so,
understand. Yeah.
okay, so you think maybe put that off? Because I put myself on a wait list back in December for like, it's like a 3-month wait list.
So, admittedly and honestly, I may be biased.
Yes.
Okay. Because I get all the dogs that are on. I had one dog on trazodone, fluoxetine, and gabapentin, and was still trying to attack me during the consultation.
Okay.
Okay. And then the owner's like, "Do you think they're helping?" I'm like, "Does it look like they're helping?" And she goes, "No," and I go, "No."
Yeah.
Okay. And that dog is completely off drugs now, and is
Okay.
doing really well. They come from St. Charles to see me, which is far.
Far.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. One thing is dogs don't medicate each other. Okay. His behavior is technically normal,
Okay.
right? Because he's a dog. He
Right.
doesn't see the world the way you see the world.
Right.
Right? When you saw me walking out or you saw me open the door, you're like, oh, that must be Jesse. That's the guy I paid to meet.
Right.
Right? So do you find me threatening?
No.
No, because you paid
You know
to
the
meet me.
situation, right.
Exactly. He doesn't know the
Right.
situation, right? So once you start to understand dog behavior, you go, oh, my dog's not really an asshole and aggressive.
Right.
He's nervous, he's under stress, and he's trying to protect us.
Right.
Right? It's just that he's not calculating correctly because he's a dog, and
Right.
that's why the human has to be the one that's in control.
Right.
I had another client, same thing, same reactivity towards hers was human and dogs. Him is just humans, correct?
Yeah, I would say, I mean, he doesn't have, the main thing with dogs is he wants to go up to them and play.
Sure.
And I feel like if he doesn't get that, then he gets
Frustrated.
mad at me or like irritated. And so then he'll be like, whoa, like trying to go, and then he'll shake his tail. But again, even when we were in those like open little dog areas, he doesn't have an issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of any times.
Yeah.
Maybe if another dog has been aggressive towards him,
Okay.
I think he just kind of
Makes sense. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And if he was aggressive there, it would make sense.
Right.
Right? So I go, all right. But this particular case was humans and dogs. It was a Great Pyrenees. It was a big dog. And she saw behaviors before me. It was like $2.50 an hour. She had to pay for like, I think it was definitely at least 3, up to 6, right? The first one, they assessed the dog. The second one, they met in the office. She didn't bring the dog. They literally just talked for an hour.
Yeah.
The third one, they like talked for an hour and then was like, here's a prescription. And then and I think that's when she stopped going, but she had to pay up front for like 6 classes, right?
Right.
And then I come in and I'm like, all right, it'll be 6 classes. And then by the second class, the dog's reactivity was done. Okay? Because dogs will not medicate each other. The medications don't do anything for the root of the problem.
Right.
The root of the problem is nervousness.
Right.
Okay. And the vet might say something else. They might say something that sounds very bookish.
Right.
It's bullshit. Okay.
Right.
But what happens is people get pulled into it because it sounds educational.
Yeah.
It sounds formal.
And they just want help. Like
Yes.
that's the spot I'm in.
Yes.
I'm in a desperation almost
Yes.
where I'm like,
Yes. It's very
could tell
simple.
me, you know?
Okay. Yes. It's very simple.
Yeah.
Okay. Because unfortunately, there are some people that will take advantage of that.
Yeah.
Okay. I get clients that are like 10 grand deep.
Yeah.
Into training their dog. And it'll be the same thing over and over again. I'm like, why'd you do the same thing over and over again? They're like, because I was desperate.
Right.
You know? I'm like, sorry to hear that, but so this, yeah. Right. I'm gonna do it one more time. Yeah. So this is nervousness, right? Environment was normal. Nate
Someone
comes
come
out,
in.
right? And this is protection,
Right.
right? But what happens is if he just came out and goes directly towards him, he's gonna feel overwhelmed. He's gonna find that threatening.
Right.
Okay. So I can help here. Okay. The other thing about drugs is, unfortunately, the dog can't tell us how it's making him feel. Right. Some drugs make dogs loopy. I had a friend who has like social anxiety, and this was years ago. And I remember one day he like came out to us that he had like social anxiety and all that stuff, and we're like, dude, like, why don't you tell us, you know?
Yeah.
Guy stuff. And then he was like, yeah, I'm on medication. He's like, but I don't like the way it makes me feel.
Right.
You know, so he ended up actually getting off of medication and seeing a therapist, and more so just like learning how to deal with his anxiety.
Right.
Right. But the medication didn't do anything, and if anything, he didn't like how it made him feel.
Right.
You know, I got a brother of mine that was like on ADHD medicine or whatever,
Right.
and he didn't like the way it made him feel, so he just got off of it and just like learned to kind of live with the condition.
Right.
You know, so what I do is we can get this under control.
Okay.
Okay, reactivity, we can correct it. Getting them to perceive the world in a calmer way,
Yeah.
we can help with that. But I can't change who he is genetically.
Right.
You have a nervous dog. You have a
Right.
nervous reactive dog.
Right.
Okay, so reactivity isn't the problem. Aggressive behaviors aren't the problem. What is the problem?
The nervousness.
The nervousness.
Right.
You see that? So that's the root. So then we help get them into a calmer, more neutral, passive mindset.
Yep.
And then I teach you how do you live and handle a nervous reactive dog.
Right.
And those two things allow you to live as normal as a life as possible
Right.
with your dog. Okay. So prong collar I use very rarely. I don't think you need to use the prong collar. Okay. I will note one thing about this martingale
Yes.
is you see how it's a snap buckle,
Yeah.
right? Snap buckles can break.
Right. And that's made me scared from the beginning. And it has this little latch on it, but it's still, yeah.
So what I would say, there are some martingales that aren't snap buckle style.
They just go over.
They just go over and they still operate the same as long as it's the correct fit. So I would suggest, you know, if you're comfortable with this, keep this. Just change the style of it to be a little bit more secure. It's rare, but I've had about 5 dogs break snap buckle collars in 15 years. So I would change that. And when it comes to the e-collar, okay, have you ever been to a chiropractor, physical therapist?
Yes.
Have you ever had TENS therapy?
Yeah.
That's the same technology.
Yeah.
Okay. People think of electricity. They use things like electrocution,
Shock,
like your
yeah.
shock. Exactly. It's not. It's just
Yeah.
a muscle stimulator. Okay?
Okay.
The reason why, to me, it's the best and most effective tool, is because it's the only tool that gives you off-leash control. Right. If he's off the leash or on the leash, you have contact with him.
Right.
As long as it's on, as long as it's fitted correctly, you have contact. You have communication.
Right.
Right. So if you see him harassing a dog, not in a bad way, like he just wants to keep playing, but that dog is done with him, you could correct him on behalf of that dog.
Right.
And then he goes, oh, all right, I'm going to leave you alone now, and I'm going to go do something else.
Right.
Okay, so now we prevent any escalation there. Let's say he sees something, he became reactive.
Right.
You would correct him, right? And then, so we have positive reinforcement, positive punishment, right? You're familiar with the quadrants and stuff like that? Add something good, add something bad, take something good, take something bad.
Yep.
Exactly, right? Is in order to deter something, which one of those do you think is which quadrant do you think we would use?
To deter, well, I feel like you would want, well, I guess positive reinforcement, right? Or
So positive reinforcement, add good, is for things you want to see again.
oh, deter, so negative
Yes,
reinforcement.
positive punishment.
Or positive punishment.
Negative reinforcement is remove something good. Negative
To see
punishment
something
is
again.
remove something bad.
Okay.
Okay. So it's because positive and negative mean add, subtract.
Right.
So it's,
Okay.
it's confusing for people.
Right.
Reinforcement means good. Punishment means bad.
Okay.
Right. So we add good, add bad, take good,
So
take bad.
negative punishment is what you're saying? Or no?
Positive punishment.
Positive punishment.
Add bad.
Okay.
Right. Negative punishment is take bad.
Okay.
So punishers are some of the best teachers. Right. You ever touch a hot stove?
No.
Would you do it again?
No.
Right. That's technically a punishment.
Yeah.
Right.
No,
Even
I
though it's
know.
an inanimate object, it was a bad thing.
Yeah.
And then you
it
went, oh,
taught you.
Exactly. Okay. Now I'm not coming in and going, let's go to 100 and just like, slam the
Right.
dog. We always start low. We work our way up, just like at the chiropractic office. They
Right.
start low. They work their way
Tens
up.
up.
You say, hey, that's too much. They drop it down. You go, I can handle that. And they go, okay. They let it do its thing. Same thing for the dog.
Okay.
We start low. We work our way up. Now, obedience numbers and behavior numbers sometimes can be the same or very similar. Sometimes they can be worlds apart.
Okay.
So to give you an example, I had a very extreme case a few years ago, one of my worst cases, in a very small dog.
Okay.
It was like a 25-pound dog
Oh my gosh. Okay.
on a high-powered collar, meant for like a Rottweiler, okay, because the behavior was that bad. Obedience-wise, the dog was perfect, 20, 25. The reactivity was so bad that it was max power, okay? And we started low, we worked our way up over the course of a few weeks. And then finally by like class 4, I was like, how's it going? The owner's like, oh, it's better, but I'm still really struggling with the reactivity. I go, okay, today's the day we're gonna get it done. And I said, what you're gonna do is every time your dog flips out, is you're gonna do max power corrections. And I told her, follow up with me in a week or 2 and let me know how it's going. And she followed up 2 weeks later. She's like, hey, the reactivity is finally stopping. And I go, great. I was like, I'll see you in a week. And then she booked her next class because I needed her to do it
At home.
and make sure that it was working.
Right.
So what tells me that it's working is that she's going, hey, like I'm actually feeling good. Like it's I now I'm finally getting what I'm wanting. And then I have her video up on my YouTube too. By like the 5th class, we're at the park and there's dogs walking around, dogs like this. Whereas like 100 feet away, the dog would be popping off. It was like crazy reactivity. Okay, and it's a little dog.
Yeah.
And it's because the intensity was so bad. It's not the size. So you know the saying, it's not about the size of the dog in the fight, but the fight in the dog
Yep.
is very, very true. Okay, so this was a small dog with a large amount of fight. That it took max power corrections before the dog finally started thinking, maybe this isn't worth it.
Yeah.
Okay, every case is different. But we always start low, we work our way up.
Okay.
I don't decide the number, Mookie decides the number.
Right.
If we're working at 35 and you're like, hey, his obedience is good and also the reactivity has dropped tremendously, like I'm feeling so much more confident, I go, great, 35 is what's getting it done, right? But if you're like, hey, I'm struggling and I'm at 70 right now and his reactivity still isn't stopping, then I go, we got 50 more levels to go, right? We're gonna get it to stop. Because people are always worried about, I'm gonna make the dog worse, whatever,
Yeah.
right? But it's about how the tool is conditioned. So that's why I said with the prong collar, when they felt like it was heightening them up more.
Yeah.
Right?
Because I feel like when he was a puppy, it was all about like, I'm your boss. Like, I don't know. It was just, I feel like it was more aggressive training. Like it was, I don't know.
Probably the old school, like we call it yank and crank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what it was.
Yeah. So
And that's why, yeah.
if dogs don't I'm not against that theory.
Yeah.
It's a very, 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 very small selection of dogs that I would resort to that because they're just asshole dogs.
Yeah. And I feel like that was the issue is like, he's scared or nervous. Like he has that nervous energy. So I feel like just kind of doing that from the beginning, he was a nervous dog, nervous puppy. And it just like made him more like, oh, I don't
Yes.
know,
No,
like
you're
heightened.
correct. Yes. It adds stress upon stress.
Yeah.
And then things start to get worse.
Yeah.
Okay. So, so with the remote collar, we start low. The first thing that we always teach is leash walking because leash pulling and leash reactivity are the 2 most common things that I deal with.
Yeah.
And training e-collar with the leash walking exercise is the best way to condition it because most people walk their dog 7 days a week, 3 times a day. So that's 7 days a week, 3 times a day, you're practicing this behavior, right? But then also it allows you to in order to learn something faster, you have to use it regularly. People tend to think of e-collar as a last resort. Well, I'm only going to use it when he's popping off at a person, right? So they're using it every now and then, but you're not getting the full understanding of it, but neither is the dog.
Right.
Because his exposure to it is very infrequent, but then also in extreme situations. So we want to use a non-confrontational, kind of non-related situation to condition it, teach it, get them used to it. We do expect there to be stress. I do expect to see more nervousness in the beginning. That's normal.
Yeah.
But once he starts to realize how it works, it all starts to go away. Okay. The other thing is theoretically, right? Because nervousness is a stress response. Okay. He sees a person, he gets nervous, and then we get reactivity. All right. E-collar is a stressor. So we're putting him under controlled stress.
Right.
We work him through the stress. He learns, oh, I can handle it. I know what to do, right? And his tolerance for stress becomes greater.
Yeah.
Exactly. So now the person turning around the corner that caught him off guard, that used to freak him out, isn't as stressful anymore because he's learned how to handle stress.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
That's exactly like when I think about situations where, because it is so unpredictable for me, because sometimes, like you could, like you said, you come over here and he would be like, whatever. But if we turn around a corner and there's someone there, it scares me. And then I feel like I am like, oh, and so I pull on there and then it scares him. Like he is like, what the heck is that?
Exactly.
And I also think voices too. So like when we walked in here, like you didn't say anything, like minus to me, but like you walked over there, he was fine. You walked back and then you were talking and I feel like that, it's like, I don't know.
Energy,
Yeah, like you're talking to him or you're gonna do something to him or something, so
Yeah. So it's just like humans, like you're meeting me now.
Right.
16 years in a career.
Right.
16 years ago, I would show up to your house in my little Chevy Cruze.
Yeah.
I was much skinnier back then, and it was just me.
Right.
Right. So it was stressful, but then as I grew and then I got an assistant and now I have a payroll,
Yeah.
and then I grew to a brick and mortar in 2019. Now I got a overhead. Plus I have more employees. Then we have dogs in our care.
Right.
Now we bought this property. Is my tolerance for stress has grown because I've grown with my business.
Right.
Right. So same thing for dogs. If we don't teach them how to handle stress correctly, we end up coming to this. Now earlier, because I saw you about to touch him,
Yeah.
right? Good catch. Is your touch is what? What quadrant is your touch?
Oh, reinforcement.
Reinforcement. So if he's unsure and you pet him.
And he's getting reinforced that that's okay.
Yes. You see that?
Yeah.
And what he really needs is direction.
Right.
Right. And but this is just a consult, but that's the stuff that I would help you with.
Right.
Okay.
Do you think, are there any changes you think at home that I can make? Like, he sleeps in my bed. It's just been him and I, like, he was only like 6 months when I was with my ex-boyfriend, but it's just been him and I then after that. So he was crate trained, all the stuff, but do you think sleeping with me is okay? Or like anything I should change at home?
I don't really believe in those things.
Okay.
Like you'll see stuff like don't let the dog sleep in the bed with you, don't let the dog on the couch, right? Don't let the dog out the door before you, this and that. A lot of it's BS. Okay. Where it will pose a problem is like, I get a lot of cases like this young lady, reactive dog. And they're like, I can't have a romantic life because of this dog, right?
Yeah.
And then, we'll do the training. They'll get the boyfriend, And then in some cases, the dog won't allow the boyfriend back into the bed.
Oh, okay, so it becomes like a
that's
resource
where
guarding.
exactly. So that's where the problem starts to happen. Okay. And in other cases, the dog loves the boyfriend or whatever, and then they coexist in the bed peacefully. Yeah. I can't predict how that's going to turn out. Yeah. But otherwise, like right now, for your current state, doesn't matter.
Fine. Okay. That's what I just wanted to know.
The other thing I go by is like we have personality type for the dog. We have intensity of the behavior. Like these are all things that I'm evaluating, and those also affect the decisions, right? If we get a big resource guarder, I would highly dissuade you allowing the dog in your bed because they're going to guard you.
Yeah.
Like I have a client right now that I worked with them last year, and they're expecting their first baby in August. And I told them I would now start not letting the dog in the bed anymore because I know the dog's going to guard the bed from your baby, but then also you don't want your baby to be in the bed and then your dog jump in it to find your baby.
Right.
So, but otherwise, for right now, not an issue.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
So, aside from obviously this behavior and stuff, what are your goals for Mookie?
I mean, aside from, like, that's the main thing, but I think also finding somewhere that he can, like, release his energy and have fun too, like in a controlled way. Like I said before, he's been going, so, I mean, I'm a pediatric dentist. I work, I work in the south suburbs, so, like, I'm commuting there, doing that. So it's not like I have a stay-at-home kind of role. So, like, he will get walked, but also he's been going to daycare since he was younger. And I don't know. I think it's good for him because he can get his energy out, whereas in ways that I can't, especially in the winter. Like, I'll take him on walks multiple times a day in the summer, but I can't because I'm not home. So I think also having a place to land for that, and do you guys do boarding here too?
We do.
Yeah, because like I've run into a few situations where it's like I have to go or I'm out of town or whatever, and then I worry if he's going to be fine at the daycare or if he's going to get into trouble, like something's going to happen, and then I stress about it. So I think that's another, just like having a place to land or a place to be.
You're not the first person.
Yeah.
May I ask what neighborhood are you in?
I live in River North.
Okay. So yeah, like daycare. So just so you know, any dog that has trained with us is welcome to utilize our daycare boarding services.
Okay.
As needed.
Yeah.
Okay. Pending we have updated vaccination records and all that stuff, right? Dogs that we've not trained have to come to daycare at least once a week.
Okay.
In order to utilize our boarding services. Okay. If they're just ad hoc, do daycare, whenever, like I don't care.
Yeah.
But almost always, like they're like, oh, I got to board my dog. We're like, sorry, like your dog's not a regular. Like that's just part of the. How do you say? I know over there they don't do it, but like a lot of daycares will say at least once a week we need to see your dog.
Yeah.
But if you've trained with us, it's a non-issue.
Okay.
Because like I said, I got my client from St. Charles. Their dog can only come here.
Right.
I don't expect them to come once a week for daycare.
Right.
They would probably do it because
if they
this is the only place that they could bring their dog.
Right.
But I've trained your dog. Bring them whenever you need to.
Okay.
So that's not a problem. So I'm just trying to determine what length of time I'd recommend for you.
Yeah.
Okay. We do 3, 6, 9, and 12-week programs.
Okay.
If you're looking at our website, you may have seen like a very expensive, like $5,000 program. Okay. That's not you.
Okay.
You could if you wanted to.
Okay.
Okay. But that's really for my legitimately, like the people from St. Charles, they run the $5,000 program.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the dog that showed up on gabapentin, trazodone,
Right, all the
fluoxetine.
stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Doug. And he loves the staff here. We love him.
Right.
But I would put you at around, at minimum, 9 classes.
Okay.
Okay. Reason is, the obedience stuff is straightforward. I know what I can get done with obedience stuff. It's behavior stuff that's always the variable.
Right.
I could say like, oh, it'll just take me a couple of classes because it's me, but maybe you're struggling with something
Yeah.
and you need more classes.
Yeah.
Okay. So having those 9 makes it so that we always have, we have extras to make sure we have enough time to cover. Okay.
Yeah.
So with the obedience, what he'll obviously have to learn. One second here. Hey, Alex.
Yeah.
We got a walkie, I think, in the lounge that's beeping. Is the first 2 classes are almost always heel. Okay, so we're going to cover heel first, and we're going to see what does that fix.
Okay.
By class 3, if you're like, hey, I'm still struggling with the reactivity,
Yeah.
then class 3, I hone in on the reactivity.
Okay.
And we do a class on how we handle that. Okay. In some cases, I'll tell you, take a couple of weeks to practice what you've learned today, and then follow up with me in a week.
Okay.
We'll see how you feel. If you're feeling confident, then we have the next class. If you're not feeling confident, we'll probably go back via email a little bit and make some adjustments.
Okay.
Once you feel like, hey, like that's what I did with that lady. As I said, max out the collar. Every time your dog is reactive, press this button.
And let's see.
And let's see what happens. And then when she followed up, hey, I'm making progress. I go, great. I'll see you next week.
Right.
Okay. And then class 4 would most likely be recall, which is come uncalled. Every dog should have a recall. You hear it? Oh, it's in the stroller. It's on the pocket right there. Thanks. That was getting on my nerves. Every dog should have recall. Class 5 would most likely do stationary control, which is what the dogs are doing there.
Right.
So if he comes to us, now that's a thing he gets to do here as well.
Okay.
Right. And then 6, 7, 8, 9, we would, how do you say, play it by ear.
Okay.
That's the behavioral stuff. If everything's going great, we just teach more obedience. Okay. What that means is more control.
Okay.
The more control you have, the better.
Right.
It just allows you to navigate the world better.
Right.
Obviously, the primary concern is behavior.
Right.
Because we're training with remote collar and there's discipline behind the training,
Right.
it's not the obedience that's helping Mookie.
Mm-hmm.
It's the discipline. It's the fact that there's consequence.
Right.
It's the fact that if he acts out, you can correct him.
Right.
That's the biggest thing. Because you can go to other trainers as you have.
Right.
You can get the obedience down.
And that's why I was like, he can sit, he
Yes.
can stay. That's not the issue.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's the discipline.
Right.
Now the thing about prong collar, like even if it was done correctly, is if his intensity is beyond what the prong collar can deliver, you're gonna be stuck.
Okay.
Right. So even if you were correcting him for being reactive, right,
Right.
as harshly as possible, and he's like,
Right.
doesn't mean nothing to me. With
Right.
e-collar, I'm not worried about that.
Okay.
Because we can match the dog's intensity.
Right.
You know, in that case with the small dog. Because when I saw the dog, I told her this is going to sound very illogical, but trust me, it is. You want your dog in the big boy collar.
Right.
Okay. And if she would have done, so if the dog was 20,
The
'cause
little one.
Yeah, exactly. Because there's different sizes for different sized dogs. So if she would have went with the appropriate collar, right, the output is less. It's not as powerful. She would have spent $300 only to have to spend another $300 to buy the appropriate collar. So I told her, I was like, don't even gamble it. I was like, just go with this collar, because if we end up needing it, we already have it. You know, because in my mind, I already recognized it, but she doesn't know that.
Right.
Right? She has to go through the journey of
Just-
like
yeah.
to see like what's working, what's not working, and then to
Right.
finally realize like, oh, you know, Jesse does know his shit because
Right.
he called it from the beginning.
Right.
You know. So, but yeah, I say 9. If you wanted to do 12 with 12, what that does is you're getting a fully off-leash trained dog, with the exception of if we spend 4 classes on behavior, we're not going to get fully off-leash. Like he's not going to get all the commands,
Right.
but he will be up to off-leash reliable. Okay.
Okay.
With that, just like if you go to the park type of stuff, like
Yeah, because his recall's trash.
so that I'm not worried about. We'll get that done.
Yeah. Okay.
Everything that I teach is meant for life.
Okay.
So I have a client. This is like my most famous story now, because it's my more recent one. 6 years, tons of different trainers, thousands of dollars, dog was still reactive.
Yeah.
Okay. They had 3 months because they were going to Spain. They were moving to Spain. And the dog was going to fly in the undercarriage.
Oh, yeah.
So during the consult, I said, would you like your dog to fly with you? And they're like, well, the dog already is. And I go, no, dude, with you, like on the plane. They're like, you can do that? I'm like, if you're going to do the homework, they're like, we'll do the homework. So we got the dog, service dog, whatever, training bullshit. Fixed the reactivity. Like they were on top of it, and flew the dog to Spain, no problem.
Wow.
Okay. And they did a 2-week board and train, and then they did all their follow-ups. And then they really just honed in. They were very disciplined because they had already tried all the food training and all that stuff for years. Nothing was working.
Right.
And they didn't want the dog to fly underneath the plane and all that stuff. So they were very disciplined, got it done.
Nice.
Okay. So I'm very good at what I do. This to me is easy.
Okay.
Okay. I have to train you.
Right.
Right. So that's the other thing is
Yep.
I will tell you now, you will have failures.
Yeah.
Okay. But that's how you learn.
Right.
Because you're like, hey, Jesse, I tried, it was a bad week, whatever, and then
Right.
we'll go over things, and then you'll probably realize you're just too low in the collar.
Yeah.
And then the next week you'll come back, and you're like, it felt better. I'm like, all right, but you're like, but I'm still struggling, and then you'll realize you're still too low in the collar,
Yeah.
and then you'll finally come back, you're like, hey, it's good. I'm like, you raised the number, you're like, yes, I did. I go, great, good job.
Yeah.
It's almost always the answer.
Yeah.
Okay?
I think I need to separate it from the fact of I think I was a little bit more like that when he was a puppy, there are consequences. I fully believe in that. I'm not someone who would never not reprimand him for that. So I feel but now it's I know that he had obviously has these issues, and I'm it's just him and I, so I need to get past that of this is for the betterment of him. If I need to make a correction or do whatever, that's what it is. So.
And actually, now that I think about it, if obviously you want to have an actual life in a romantic life or whatever,
Right.
is how to have people come over.
Yeah.
Because there is a right and wrong way to do that.
Yes.
And also how to introduce them to people to then build a relationship over time.
Yes.
Right. So then, with 9 classes, could we get it done? Yes. If we end up spending time on the reactivity and stuff, it'll cut it short. You can always buy more classes.
I was gonna say, is there a way to so I can add them later?
You can, it's just more expensive.
Okay.
So we don't prorate programs.
Okay.
So if you paid 9 and then paid for 3, it would be more expensive than if you committed to 12 up front.
Okay.
Okay. So that's completely up to you.
And then what's the schedule of the class? Break it down that
You
way.
book it
for
with
me.
Tina.
Okay.
So you would give her your calendar, meaning your open availability.
Okay.
Please don't give her one-off times because
Yeah.
that does I have a lot of clients, I have a lot of responsibilities here.
Right.
So we have a client that just signed up. She gave her one time on a Wednesday, and we're like, yeah, no, we need more.
Right.
Because she's gonna look at your calendar, my calendar, and go, where do we sync up?
Right.
Okay. Ideally, we pick a day where we'd see each other once a week for an hour.
Okay.
Okay. The longer the program, at some point towards the end of the program, I'm going to tell you at this point you've learned as much as you can, and to get the full benefit of everything, you now need to come back when you're ready for your next class. It's usually, if you're doing a 12-week program, it's usually around class 9 or 10, right? Because you have to practice people coming over. You have to practice socializing them with people that have come over, right? All that stuff. You're going to have hiccups. You're going to have failures. And then maybe 2 months later, you're like, hey, I'm ready for class number 10. This is what I want to work on, right? And if it's people coming over, maybe there's a person he's not liking, maybe it's, you're finally started dating someone and he's not liking them, right? And then I can come in and then help you fix that. So I'm actually doing that this coming Friday. It was supposed to be this past Friday, but I got food poisoning. This coming Friday, I have a client, same situation with her German Shepherd, now has a boyfriend. Mm-hmm. And now she's like, would like for my dog to like my boyfriend.
Right.
So that's what I'm coming over for.
Okay.
Okay. So, so you could do 9. I unfortunately can't. How do you say? I'm not a psychic.
Predict.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then you could always add 3 more or whatever. It'd just be more expensive. If you're like, you know what, I'll just do 12 up front. It's cheaper per class up front.
Okay.
You won't waste any classes. Trust me. You
Yeah.
will get the full value of everything. And then towards the end, once I tell you you have everything, come back when you're ready. You pretty much call the shots at that point. Okay. And they don't expire. As long as you tell us oh yeah, I'll be back when I'm ready, they don't expire. When we get clients, it's rare, but it happens that just fall off the map.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, well, no,
Yeah.
you're bye.
Yeah.
Okay. Other questions?
Yeah. So during this time period, should he only be, because he has a guy that walks him every day if he doesn't go to some type of daycare or something like that. So there's no daycare for that whole time, right? I'm assuming so.
I mean, it doesn't matter.
Okay, it doesn't matter?
No.
Okay.
It won't impede on the training.
Well, that's what I just worry about. I just want to make sure that whatever you think.
He's going to learn the difference between you and daycare and the walker because you're going to be structured and they're going to not be structured. Okay?
Okay.
Now, it has happened in the past where the dog gets a taste of structure and then starts to act out more in the unstructured environments, but it's not that common.
Okay.
Okay.
So he can still maybe once or twice a week go.
Yeah.
Okay.
After a couple of classes, because I'm not sure if you have a bundle or if it's ad hoc over there.
No, I just take him whenever. I don't have a bundle.
Yeah. I would say by the third class, once we have a good assessment, he could start coming here.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
And depending on your area, we could take a look. Our clients that have trained with us get free transport if we service their area.
Okay.
So I'm not sure if we go into the River North area, we'd have to see exactly where you are.
Yeah.
But that's something else, that's a perk that you would get.
Nice.
Is that if you're in our area, because we have a big band, it can't get into all the places, especially like in the South Loop and
like the city.
yeah, like with deep in the city there, like I'm like it's too much of a pain in the ass. Like we'll get stuck. But yeah, you can always check to see, and then we'll let you know if you're could benefit from that perk.
Okay.
Okay. Otherwise, the collar I'd recommend for this guy would be the big boy collar.
Yeah.
It just means we get more from less.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfectly safe to use. I could put him an 8-pound Chihuahua. He'd be perfectly fine. And then what you can do is when you leave here, if you want to expedite things a little bit, email Tina. Say, hey, Tina, sign me up. Tell her 9 or 12, whatever you decide to do.
Yeah.
Give her your full availability, right? And then, because that's what she's going to ask for.
Right.
If you're going to end up bringing them to daycare anyways in the future, you can tell her, like, I'm going to end up sending them to daycare, so go ahead and just send me the Ginger profile because we have a training contract, but then that contract is also in our Ginger profile.
Okay.
So instead of filling out 2 different contracts, you can just create the profile, and then you have the one that's going to be on his thing anyways. Okay. So that when he comes in the future for daycare boarding, we already have it. Okay.
Okay.
And then she'll get you scheduled. Just to be upfront, the next probably 3 or 4 weeks are going to be a bit crazy on my end because we are going out of town for one weekend.
Okay.
It's my birthday, it's my wife's birthday, and then I have some other things going on as well. Plus the transition between.
Do you
winter,
do weekdays?
I
If they're
do.
available. Okay.
Yes. The only issue is that I do the transport some days.
Okay.
And in the evenings, I'm not available because I have to do the transports.
Okay.
I have staff that is training right now.
Okay.
And I just hired a new employee, so it just depends on what my calendar looks like.
Okay. I usually have Tuesdays off, so I just didn't know if you.
Yeah, like if you have daytime availability, this is easy.
Yeah.
This is easier.
Okay.
Okay, because like the midday, I'm usually available.
Yeah.
So like this time would most likely work.
Okay.
We can send her your availability anyways, just in case she has to reschedule anything. We at least have an idea. And then once she has the contract or the profile, whatever thing, and then she'll send you an invoice and all that stuff, you're good to go. Okay. Depending on your turnaround, sometimes I see people, and then by the next week, they're already signed up. Okay. Just depending on how quickly you want to get started.
Yeah.
But I will be out of town the 25th through the 2nd of March. Just heads up.
Of March. Okay.
Okay. Anything else?
And do I purchase the e-collar? Is that include? Like, how does that work?
That's separate.
That's you.
I do sell them.
Okay.
If you get it through us, it is 10% off.
Okay.
If you get it online, I don't care where you get it. I just care that you get the correct collar.
Right.
Okay, because people will go
I might
and
as well just get it through you guys and have
they'll
you
get
just tell me what I
the
need.
wrong thing, and then they show up and like this is the complete wrong collar.
Right.
Okay.
I don't want to do that.
And then just FYI for you, as another perk for being a client, you do get 10% off all our retail, whether it's food, whether it's training stuff, things like that. If we can get it for you, like we have a client that custom orders food from us because it's an expensive food and it's cheaper by bulk, but then it's also cheaper because they get it through us. So if he's like on some special diet or something.
So yeah, he's had some GI issues also, and he's been on a HP diet, the hydrolyzed protein diet.
Is it Science Diet or whatever?
It's a Royal Canin.
Okay. You could check because there's some stuff that my wife can't get,
Yeah.
but she can look for you.
Okay.
But that's just if you wanted.
Yeah.
Not saying that you have to, but we let people know you do get 10% off all the stuff here. So, anything else?
I don't think so.
Right. So if you have any questions you may have forgotten to ask, you can email Tina.
Okay.
If they pertain to me, I'll email her back. She'll forward you my answer. Otherwise, any training, any scheduling questions would be directed towards her. I do record our training sessions so that in the future, if you ever need something to reference, you always have it there. And then when I get clients they're like, oh, I want my boyfriend to learn. I go, here's the video links. You can watch them or whatever. So that's also a nice thing about how we operate is that you always have access to your personal training sessions.
Yeah.
Because it is a lot of information.
Right.
Okay. Other than that, it's pretty much it. If you need anything else from us, you let us know.
Okay.
Okay? And then the mic you can just place on the chair.